too is all these people pretend like they're fearless outsiders, and then it's like there they are at Trump's inauguration, the literal president of the United States,
and
the most powerful person in the world.
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Kyle Kulinski and Crystal Ball tearing apart Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has completely lost it. He is out of touch with his audience. I'm playing a clip from the Kyle Kulinski show and giving my commentary. Let's get into it.
Politics. Every video that you put out is going to piss off somebody. So you should never self-censor. You should never cater to a particular audience. You always just need to stay the course and have a goal in mind and ask yourself, with every video that I put out, is this in service of that long-term goal? And a lot of people don't do that. They just kind of shit out whatever thoughts are on their head, and then eventually they go in one direction. I mean, it's happened so many times. Dave Rubin, Russell Brand, Joe Rogan, Jimmy Dore.
It's a weird phenomenon too. The ones who get stuck in a certain era. I've seen that, right? Where like some people just stop, like it's almost like they stopped following the specific stories of politics post a certain year, and they just get stuck in a
Jimmy
rut
thing
of 1
is
year.
like we're still bad about the vaccines, right, guys?
He is in 2020 forever. Like he's just stuck in 2020 forever.
But you know what's funny, even with that, is so as part of this big AI announcement, one of these dudes got up and was like, AI is going to enable us to make mRNA vaccines within 48 hours for everybody. And even on something that, you know, the right has made such a core part of their political identity, even on that, they weren't like, wait, we hate vaccines. What's going on?
They're followers.
We don't like this.
They're all
they
followers.
just all, they just all like, oh, if Trump's doing it, I guess it's going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much rich stuff.
Yeah.
There's so much rich stuff to talk about. The whole AI scam, the fact that $500 billion basically given to tech oligarchs to set up a tech feudalist authoritarian society, and we don't have our basic needs met, but we're $500 billion towards AI, which will eventually take our jobs and replace us as they say it will.
Right.
It's like, why are we not talking about this? No, we got to talk about fucking Fauci. We got to talk about 2018, something that happened in 2018. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So I see you're just as black-pilled as I am. You're just as radicalized as I am.
There's another layer to this, too, which is we're just talking about the problem of audience capture. But, I mean, most of these outlets, especially all of the right-wing outlets, they take tons of corporate money.
Oh, yeah.
This is just a symptom of a bigger issue. We literally have both sides of our government, and it's, I'm not talking about the government in, the executive, legislative, judicial. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about both sides, as in Republican and Democrat, the ones that make up all of these parties, or these branches. Both of these parties are compromised by corporations. So, I mean, of course, anyone who's talking about these issues or talking about that is the final step. If you're talking about it, then eventually, maybe, I'm not saying you always get into it, but you get closer and closer to the machine, which is completely and utterly governed by corporations. This is late stage capitalism. Everything is a commodity, even the politician's loyalty.
A well-oiled machine. That's a well-oiled machine on the right.
Tell me how you're different from mainstream media.
They're not.
Like, you're not. In
How
fact,
is Rogan?
It's worse, because I worked at MSNBC, and I can tell you, the hosts are not involved in soliciting, pharma executives or whatever. There is at least a theoretical wall between the on-air talent and the people who are selling the ads. In the quote-unquote new media world, there is none of that. You oftentimes are the person who are reading the ad. And so we're supposed to believe for some reason you have more integrity than they do, when actually you're more directly compromised in terms of the financial interest. And, that's the other part of this, is just like, I don't know. I guess I'm not even sure what the answer is, because I think you just have to rely on some sort of
That's the answer. Destroy these lying fucking
audiences
frauds.
have to be educated about the differences between the different business models, and because you can create a business that has better incentives and tries to protect you against some of these corrupting influences. But and at this point, there just needs to be a recognition that just because you're on YouTube or you have a podcast does not mean that you have any more integrity than any mainstream figure, and is probably an indication that you have much less.
Rogan gives a hand job to a robber baron, a new one, every other week. And we're supposed to think like, oh, bro, you're really independent. It's really great how you keep having on asshole MAGA politicians and genocide supporters for Israel.
Or like Barry Weiss, fearless truth teller Barry Weiss, who hosted a Trump inauguration party in like collaboration with Uber and had a bunch of that's the other thing too. Is all these people pretend like they're fearless outsiders, and then it's like there they are at Trump's inauguration, the literal president of the United States,
and by
the
the way,
most powerful person in the world.
Is Rogan now shitting on Trump for his fucking clear meme coin scam of his own supporters? Is he talking about that? Is he talking about the executive orders that raised drug prices? If Joe Biden signed an executive order that raised drug prices, Rogan would fucking talk about it. Rogan would talk about it. Everybody in that right-wing sphere would talk about it. With Trump, they won't say shit because they're all captured. They are MAGA regime media. That's what they are. And also, if you get a $250 million fucking contract or whatever the fuck it is from Spotify, it's like, spare me the like fucking outsider tap dance, right?
Yeah.
Spare me the.
So we can see that media has now turned, I believe, through trickle down. You have the state becoming an instrument of the ruling capital class. That is now becoming a weapon of power. The state has been that for however long now. And now we have the media becoming more of an extension of the state, so that it is even more now a weapon of or just an instrument of the ruling class. Because look, if you're creating a parasocial relationship with one of these guys, for instance, let's say Joe Rogan or anyone on the web, if you're creating a parasocial relationship, if you see this person consistently giving you nothing but just fed information, spoon-fed information on like, these are what the corporations believe in, this is how you should feel about it, anyone in their right mind who is thinking for themselves is going to say, you know what, I don't really trust this guy, which leads to more alienation, which, this is the working class. These are the people in the middle. Anyone who's just not like straight up blindly taking information and blindly taking the story as it is. Anyone who's thinking for themselves, you're feeling more isolated than ever. These are all symptoms of a system going corrupt. And there's, at the very end of the day, at this point, we just have to point it out and see what happens from here.
Yeah, and it's not just for him, it's for all the others as well.
And that's part of the problem, though, to your point, Kyle. Like, if you are 100 millionaire multiple times over, like, little by little, you're just going to naturally become detached from everyday people. Joe Rogan is not going to live a life that's even remotely similar to somebody else in Texas, right? Like, he's never going to have to worry about healthcare costs. Perhaps, he was already insulated from that. But there are degrees of wealth that really make you a psychopath, I think, honestly. Like, not to psychoanalyze people, but like, when you just have like $10 million, $50 million, you're doing really good, you're comfortable, but I think that you still maybe have the capacity to empathize. When you get into the 100 million, billion category, that's when like I think you actually become a sociopath. And so like you don't just like become detached, you genuinely hate and are antagonistic towards working people, because then there's resentment because there's a lot of income and wealth inequality. So maybe he gets called, a rich person and gets accused of rich-splaining or whatever, and then he starts to fight back against them. So like, it's just, these people they're not representative of the average human experience, right? So they can't pretend to speak for regular people when like Joe Rogan has a fucking I don't know, he probably has a mansion with like 20 rooms in it. Like, that's not what the normal people are dealing with, so that also is part of the problem as well.
Yeah, as well as just, I've made this point 1,000 times about Rogan, but his environment, it's true. He went from LA to Texas, but he's surrounded 24/7 by edgy right-wing comedians who think comedy is just like pissing off liberals. Like, that's their whole view of what comedy is. I said the edgy thing. Oh, did you? You're such a bad boy. Like, that's their whole fucking thing, right?
Yeah, but don't let him hear a Lady Bishop tell him to have compassion for people.
Oh, then they melt down. Then they melt down. Hearing in a Christian...
Whoa, that is too out there. How dare you?
Yeah, delivering the message of Jesus to the face of these supposed Christians is a fucking bridge too far. Right. And I saw Republican politicians like, deport her!
Yeah.
Oh, no, we should be deporting Elon Musk. That's who we should be deporting.
Sorry, not to digress. They brought on the crypto scam pastor to Laura Ingram's show.
Yeah,
right.
To go after this lady and say she should never preach the gospel of Christ again or whatever. Oh my God.
Tell me about your morality, Mr. Crypto Scammer, who just crypto scammed fucking 24 hours ago. asshole.
You know,
I mean,
I
these
reached
people are
out to
ridiculous.
that guy on Twitter and I asked him, Pastor Lorenzo, you know, I was going to donate all this money that I have to my local church, but it seems like if I put it all into Lorenzo coin, that's going to be better. So I could do that and then donate it to the church. Like, if I do that, you're not going to rug pull on me, are you? Like,
Oh, man.
So there we have it, you guys. I mean, like I said, Joe Rogan is losing touch with his audience more and more. Anyone who is having a brain for themselves sort of still has their guard up with Joe Rogan. He has not fully regained anyone's trust just yet. He still seems to be, quite frankly, a part of the system now, just another instrument to cause division between the haves and the have-nots. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. So it's another day in the progressive way.